Esther Lynn, MMA Fighting. The Great Divide is a new recurring feature here at MMA Fighting in which writers debate a topic in the world of MMA, whether it's news, a fight, a crazy thing somebody did, a crazy thing somebody didn't do, or some moral dilemma threatening the very foundation of the sport, and try to figure out a resolution. We'd love for you to join in the discussion in the comments section below. First up this week, Chuck Mindenhall and Sean Al-Shatti tackle a question that's been on everyone's mind without an obvious main event for the UFC's upcoming return to Madison Square Garden. Should Nate Diaz vs Dustin Poirier be the headlining attraction of UFC 230? In Mindenhall. One of the fun subplots that came out of the Conor McGregor-Nate Diaz series was the notion that Diaz, a casual elusive for so many years, had emerged as a star. That is undoubtedly true. Millions of people paid closer attention to Diaz's every move for both fights, namely because he offered McGregor something McGregor hadn't dealt with before, that is, a foil with zero FCKS to give, a megaton chip on his shoulder, and a psyche that was impervious to even the shrillest Irish cackle. Of course, it helped that those of us within the MMA bubble knew the truth, that, Diaz actually has many FCKS to give. Many FCKS. More FCKS than just about anybody, really. FCKS for days. Nobody is in tune with his public like Diaz. Every time he takes a step he's watching himself take it on a screen in his mind. He is the star of his own movie, and he has a good feeling that the audience is smart enough to pick up on his complexities. He storms out of a presser. He knows we love the impulse. He pretends to spark a spliff on national TV. He knows that speaks louder than words. Why? Because Nate Diaz is never fighting any one man. Nate Diaz is always fighting the man. The media understands the subliminal contract he has signed for that particular bout, and cherishes the ideas within that deep meaning. That's why he is beloved. And McGregor, who has earned something like $1 bazillion in the very same UFC that paid Diaz $40,000 to show for his bout with Michael Johnson, just happens to be the man. He is the very special treatment that Diaz stands against. His grudge against flourishing coattails has been communicated so well that in 2 years away from the octagon his celebrity has reached an all-time high. And that's why Diaz isn't suited for a headlining spot at UFC 230 at Madison Square Garden. Dustin Poirier is not the man. Poirier is in the same rat's nest the rest of the contenders are, fighting for his place atop the common ranks. Poirier is Donald Cerrone or Rafael dos Anjos or Jim Miller. A Diaz-Poirier fight is fascinating from an action standpoint, and promises to deliver. But it lacks the bigger meaning that makes people care about Diaz. Why did he seem like an epiphany to so many in his fight with McGregor? Because he was Stockton's version of Tom Joad. He was fighting not just for himself, but for every other fighter's place to stand. Subconsciously, he was a feeling of exhilaration in the stomach. Those switches he was throwing were aimed at Dana, Endeavor, Lorenzo, and everybody else who has ever made a buck off him. Poirier isn't bringing that out, not as a kid from Louisiana with problems of his own. The fight is perfectly placed on the main card, below a John Jones's bout. And will be like a match hitting a dry barn, but it's a fight that only goes yay deep. If McGregor beats Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229, and calls for Diaz to take care of business in New York City so that they can meet again, the UFC would be dumb not to capitalize on that and perhaps even help in the orchestration. As is, Diaz is fighting Dustin Poirier in what looks like a damn good banger, but that's not enough to carry a major PPV. Yes, Al-Shatti. First off, I preface everything I'm about to write with the caveat that if John Jones is somehow freed from his USADA issues early, a proposition that once sounded ridiculous but is increasingly seeming to be in play, then this entire argument is null and void. Make no bones about it, If Jones is available on November 3, then he should headline Madison Square Garden, especially with the former light heavyweight champ out here looking more like a bricked-up heavyweight with each passing day. But if that ends up not being the case, and Jones is kept in USADA purgatory through the fall, then there really is only one solution for you.